Jailer Rock, percent off collector, and we're here with another Transformers unboxing and review. And I've been racking up these crossovers, and some of them are cool, some of them are okay. A lot of it, I realized that I've been liking the vehicle mode much more. I love the fact that this one here, which is a crossover with Jurassic Park, has two, Decepticon, and you got the Autobot. And I like the idea of both modes. I was never a big Wars person. By that time I was like kind of aged out, and I was like, I don't really like the way it looks. I wasn't into the Beast. I was G1 all the way before we even knew it was called G1. But I do like the way that this looks, and we're gonna open it up in just a moment and see if it's something that should be part of your collection. So we'll be right back. Alright, we're back here with this Transformers Jurassic Park crossover, and we're just gonna get right into this, but just want to show you, I love the fact that it has these two here, and that I think that's one of the things that I think makes the huge difference, is the fact that you have two different Transformers here, and especially that I got it at a really good price, because hey, you know where you're at, percent off collector. So I had to get that deal. I wasn't buying this day one. I wasn't paying full price, but for the price that I got, I think so far. I mean, I think already it's worth it, but we'll see, because we're gonna open up this right here, right now, to see what was safe. All right, so I have to say just right away, like I said, I don't open these beforehand or anything. So I'm seeing it. I mean, of course, I see what it looks like and looked at a review just to see if I'd be interested in it. So it's like, first of all, I knew it was going to be smaller, obviously. I knew it wasn't going to be like those larger series from Transformers, but that didn't really bother me. To me, I just want to know, does it look cool? And like I said, I think it was not. I know it was the Jeep. I do like this presentation though. I like how they did this here with like up the mountain. It is kind of funny. I assume that the head is kind of fragile, but it kind of, I mean, doesn't it look like this is like what they do when they like kidnap someone and take you to the black site? You get like a black ops team. Well, okay, I can see why. I guess these come off like that. But it's like, man, they put like a bag over my man's head. It's like you're gonna wake up in like Guantanamo Bay or something. It's like, damn. And I also like the way that they I guess it's gonna be the guns and the other little accessories up there. Just in case you don't notice, up here, I like the idea of that. So, oh, and they do the, okay. I didn't see the little string at the tail. I'm always missing them little ones, man. They be sneaking up on me. I'm just trying to see. I kind of don't like that, like how they did the foot. I guess I get it because they're just worried about it getting damaged. So I appreciate that. I'd rather have a little bit of struggling getting it out the package than have something that breaks. So okay, so I got one, and then we got two. So that's easy enough. And then we have the accessory box up here. And then I don't think there's anything else. I mean, I'm not gonna try to make this into a diorama or anything, so I don't really care about the rest of it. Let me just make sure I don't lose the other ear there. Not ear, but alright, so little piece here. Alright, so we're gonna start with the accessories as we often do. Let's zoom in on that. So I do like that. I mean, like, the little crate is cool. I just like how that looks. I mean, again, this is not anything that I'm thinking like, oh, I'm gonna save it or anything, but I will go easy on opening it, at least for the beginning. I won't just like rip it apart. Alright, so we got that. Doesn't feel like there's that much. Okay, so it's like little tiny, which makes sense. I mean, these are tiny figures, so I kind of like this wrapping paper. I mean, if you have someone in your life that you're giving them something maybe small enough to use that for, definitely could reuse that. So I think that's sweet. All right, so we got the shaving cream thing. I mean, I think that looks really sweet. And I love the fact that it has the Autobot symbol. That's really sweet. And then you have this here. That's cool. So you can, like this. Not sure, is this at the top? I have to check that out and see exactly how I do that, but that's cool. And then you have this one here as well. I like that it has the Jurassic Park logo on it. I think that's a sweet little touch. And this is the part that fell off. So this is the side fins for the dinosaur. So that's cool. So I guess let's start with the dino itself. Just because, let me zoom out of it. So as I said, I was never like a big Beast War type collector or anything, but it doesn't mean that some of them weren't cool. It's just that, like I said, by that time I was not into just the series at all, and also just the fact that I don't know, I did not like the way the graphics were, like that computer graphics. And I said the same thing, like I was a big fan of DS9, and a friend told me to check out Babylon 5, and I liked the show, but just the way they did the effects with the computer just did not work for me, which I understand. It's about story, and don't get me wrong, that Babylon 5 story was fire, but as a kid, I didn't really, or just a younger teenager, I didn't appreciate that. So, I mean, overall, I mean, this is kind of cool. I think sometimes with a lot of these, you kind of get not a complete looking beast just because they're really trying to go for the overall aesthetic. And I just think that was another thing with the beasts. I always just thought it was kind of strange that, like, I understand the reasoning that they gave in the TV show about protecting their metallic parts with the organic, but just, I don't know, it's just like having to transform into beasts. Like, you literally could have just put some kind of like organic skin over their robot form or something like that, but I don't know. So I do know that because this is the spitting guy, you can put a little thing here, which I think is cool, and then kind of close it, so then you get that that spitting effect, which actually looks cool. I mean, that looks cool, right? I think it looks cool. Of course, we're going to transform this later, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show both of their alt modes first, and then go into the actual transformation for both. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, like, especially like once you get underneath, like, you can just easily see the robot part. But as I said, I just all the beasts that I've seen, it's kind of been like that. I bought a couple of the newer releases of the G1, and of course it's G1 style, so it's gonna look different, but I just think that it's harder to do robots into beasts. Though there were some of the newer ones that I've seen of like Optimus Primal that looks pretty sweet. But so I just have to say, I mean, just overall, I mean, something like this is just it's not bad at all, like just the way it stands. I mean, you're gonna have like limited articulation just because of like how the animal is designed in general. I mean, so it's like, of course, the smaller arms. So I mean, it's gonna be really up and down, because I mean, this is essentially like a vehicle mode. So it's more gonna be like you can attack, you can just stand and hide in plain sight. But you got movement with the tail, things like that. Let me see. Not really any movement with the head. I mean, yeah, I mean, kind of like an up and down with the head. So I mean, that's cool enough. Even though this kind of feels like it's part of the transformation too. So maybe not technically. And I mean, these kind of move, but I mean, that's also just the nature of how these fit into the slot. So I don't know, not too much I can say. I mean, I can just show you just how it looks. It doesn't look bad, especially with the little effect. Just sitting there in this mode is not bad. But for me, I like the Jeep. I think it looks sweet, especially just being tiny like that. You know, I picked up like Hound and stuff like that, and I just thought that looked pretty cool. So having like a small one, and then the details for me is what makes the difference. So if something looks really cool in the vehicle mode, then I don't have any problem with that. And that's what I've noticed with a lot of the crossover series. You know, because I have the DeLorean, I have the Party Wallop, and I also have the one from Stranger Things. And to me, they all seem better in the vehicle mode than the robot mode. It's not like the robot mode's terrible, but it just seems like the vehicle mode is way better. So I just like the little details. And growing up, of course, the Jurassic Park was fire, especially that first one. And the toys blew up like crazy. And even though I was like more into video games at that time, I really did think like just the Jeep looked cool. Even though it was like just a regular Jeep, I think they just did really good with the styling. And of course that logo, it just sticks out. And of course I always like when they do the windows like that, the blue and stuff. I think that looks sweet. You know, the tire on the back, which is standard for these type of Jeep type vehicles and stuff like that. And it just feels like something directly out of Jurassic Park. And the fact that it's actually like the actual company Jeep, even having the logo on the tires is a nice touch and all that. And it rolls pretty decent. You know, not super great, but it could be that maybe the arms are a little bit out. Of course, yeah, like it looks like it maybe it's like below. Of course, when you look underneath it, you can kind of see where it's going to be kind of a general transformation. It's nothing going to be anything crazy. I do kind of wish maybe there was something with the lights. Either if maybe they put like a yellow sticker or something on there. You know, obviously I know they're not going to make it anything crazier than that, but I'm just curious if there was anything that you can mount on it. I don't think so. I'm just looking to see if there's like anything here, so I don't see that. But yeah, I have to say that I think that's sweet. I think that together, I think it's a decent pair. I do think that it's kind of funny though. I mean, you just look at the size between the two, which I get it. I mean, obviously, you're not gonna be able to scale it the way it would actually be. So, but zoom out just a little. But I mean this is more like T-Rex size than anything else. But as I said, I still think it looks cool. Like even that, I think maybe the spit effect kind of seals it, where it doesn't bother me, you know, regarding anything else with it. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna transform both of these into its robot mode, and then we'll see, does the robot mode look just as good as the vehicle mode? Let's find out. Right, here we have both of them into their robot modes, and I have to say, it's one of those situations where the robot modes don't do it for me as much as the vehicle modes or the alternate modes. I admit that with the Autobot, it is a little bit better. I do kind of like that the tail comes off and you're able to make a weapon out of it. But I don't know, like there's a couple of weird things here, and I did actually check a couple of places. Like I went to EMGO 316 for the transformation after conferring with the instructions, and one of the things I found interesting has to do with the Decepticon more than anything else. So let's start with that. So like part of the transformation is when you are unwrapping the arms underneath it, you like pull it back like this, but nothing where I saw there's like a locking mechanism here. So basically once, like it looks like that's something there, but it actually, there's nothing there that snaps in. So what happens as a result of this is that the movement is like all of this, which is not bad, but if you see, you have your regular range of movement with the shoulder, the elbow, everything else here. So it's kind of weird that there was no locking mechanism, because there's other pieces that lock in, and that's one of the things I was checking. Now, hey, it's possible I still missed it. So if someone in the comments is like, hey, there is a tab, hey, let me know, because I checked a couple of times. I didn't find any tab for this. So that's the thing. Whenever you make this move, you know, you got this whole piece that's moving to me, and that to me is just weird. Also, I mean, the feet. I mean, it's kind of weird how you end up almost like with like high heels boots on the end of it. But you know, you got pretty decent range of articulation, because I mean, you can move the feet pretty well. Like even down here, there's little ball joints so you can move around to adjust it. And you will need it, because you kind of have to have kind of like a little bit lean going on as far as posing. But it kind of makes sense considering what the alternate mode looks like. But you see, you got really decent range of motion as far as the hips and all that. Really no other swivels besides once you get to the hips. You just bend the knees and that's it. It's same thing like with the waist. Like there's no waist turn or anything like that, or no, you know, obviously no ab crunch. So, and then you have the head, and not too much movement there. You can kind of look up. A lot of these you can't really look down. Like I said, another thing that I saw, this piece seems to sometimes fall off. Like sometimes it feels like it fits in really good, and sometimes not so much. So this basically just fits on like a gun. So you can see here, basically you just flip this around and then that's it. So in a lot of the transformations, what happens is when it sits here, it actually plugs in back here. But at the same time, if you want to have the gun in its place, then obviously you're not going to have that there. So what happens is at the back, it looks extra weird. So does these things really bother me? No, it's really more that I see things like this talked about, and just learning about Transformers, transformation, different ways they do designs. I'm just like, huh, that is kind of weird that when you get to the back, it looks kind of weird. So this seems to be like one of those front-loaded things where you also are like, just keep it careful. And a lot of times, like you saw in the Beast Wars cartoon, that, you know, having the head in the front like that is not a thing. But see, that's another thing that for me, aesthetically, I'm not like, ooh, I think that's cool. It's not a thing for me. And even the weapon, like, it's kind of weird, because it's like, yeah, you can kind of strain it out, but it's still like a tail and looks kind of weird. But I mean, I understand that you needed a way to give it a weapon and all that. And I do kind of like the way how this fits here and has that look. So it still has that menacing look. You know, it definitely goes with the whole Decepticon, Predacon, whatever you want to call it, look. So, I mean, again, nothing terrible, but I'm not digging the robot mode as much as the dinosaur mode. So as far as him, a lot more traditional. You know, a lot of the Jeeps you see, they come over like this. I kind of like how they were able to do where you bend the wheels like that, so it almost looks like you have a little bit of protection. But at the same time, in the middle, it kind of almost looks like, this is almost like the opposite of, you know, how Batman, like in the lore, well, it depends on the lore, but apparently for Batman, the symbol on his chest, especially when he was doing like yellow, the yellow bat had extra, I guess Kevlar or whatever bullet repelling thing that he was using at the time. It had extra amount there, and the idea was he wanted people to focus on that instead of shooting other parts, especially not shooting at his head where the cowl wasn't protecting a lot. This kind of just looks like it's just sitting there asking to be shot. And especially like this here, it looks like there should be something there. And again, I did check to make sure I'm not screwing that up, and it isn't. I also think it's kind of weird with the gun, because you like, so how you're able to, and I said shaving cream, I meant aerosol. So basically that can go on the gun, but even when you put this on the gun, you saw it kind of look kind of weird, but you also can use that for that. So I do like the functionality that you're able to use that effect on the gun, but I think what happens is without it, the gun looks kind of weird. And then even with it, it kind of looks weird. And obviously if you don't have this, you can't put this over the fist or anything else. As far as movements, you know, you have the feet and all that. The transformation with this was much easier. A lot of things fit into place. Of course, you got that kibble in the back. And I do think that having these sit like this, the doors and all that, you know, again, from the behind, it just looks, it looks like just a figure that you're expected to just always be looking at the front. But even from the front, it's like, okay. So as far as articulation, you know, basic. I noticed that mine is kind of loose, which is kind of funny because this canopy, I actually had to put some muscle into this to get this canopy to bend up and lock into place. Again, the door sticking out on the side. You know, you got the bending here, you got the flex. You can kick forward, but you have restrictions from back here, and you have a restriction from here, from the plate. This plate can go up, but it's kind of silly that you'd have to lift the plate to do a full front kick. So again, kind of weird engineering design choice with that. And then of course, you know, this one either, like, so yeah, you can turn the, I guess, hip area, I guess you would say, but there's no ab crunch. Obviously there's no rotating of the waist or anything like that. And then with the hands, you can rotate the hands as well. And you can bend at the elbows. Obviously, you can rotate the shoulders. It does kind of make the clearance kind of up here. This is kind of what kind of blocks it, but not really. See, you can clear it. And you saw that the aerosol fell off. Like, that happens a lot. So that's one of those things as well where it's like, I think though part of it, I thought that there was definitely a way to lock it in. It looks like, I thought that there was grooves, but I realized I'm just looking at the paint from the stripes on the aerosol. So that's kind of strange. I do like the hard hat. There's grooves on the back of his head. You see that? And you see those? That's how you get that. So that's cool to help lock it into place. But as I said, like, overall, I mean, it's not terrible or anything, but I just think that the robot modes look better than the alt mode. And like I said, like I said, standing it like that, you kind of get like a weird kind of look. And like I said, I am not great at posing or anything yet, so please don't take my thing as end all be all, because there's people that will be able to do this perfectly. So, you know, always keep that in mind. But I'm gonna put these a little bit closer. Okay, back to back, man, back to back. But so this one, when it first came out, was, I think it was like 69 or something. Doing a quick Google search to see. I think when it first came out, it was closer to like 50 or 60 bucks. It's funny, I always love when Google decides to pick the $75 eBay listing when everyone else is selling it less. But I see it average, let's say, so let me give you just some names that you guys, if you collect, you know. Big Bad Toy Store shows it at 45. Amazon shows it at 42. You know, even eBay, you see it at around $40. So it seems to be around that $40 mark to get this. But I got it for like a super special through Amazon for $29.99. So for that price, this is definitely cool. Honestly, 40, if you got it for 40 bucks for getting the two, I think that's not bad. I think even Walmart, through one of their third-party sellers, had them from like 38 bucks. So for these two figures, even though they're smaller, I mean, they're definitely not core class small, but I think, I mean, would I pay 20 bucks a piece? I mean, me, no, but I would not necessarily tell any fan of Transformers that that's too much. That's for you to decide. But overall, I still think it's cool. I'm most likely going to transform these back into their alt modes, and that's probably where they're going to stay, except when I do pictures or something. But besides that, I do think that this would be a good addition to your collection if you can get it under $40. Hey, thanks for checking out the channel. And if you like what you've seen, please consider giving us a like, comment, a sub, all that stuff. It really helps the algorithm as we try to make a push to reach out to more collectors that, like me, like to get that discount. Because you know how I say, no discount, no deal. All right, catch you later.